President Uhuru Kenyatta said there has been a steady improvement for the last 2 years in project completion, absorption of project funding, and accountability of project outcomes by implementing agencies.
This has also been central in the coordination of my administration's response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Uhuru says the all-of-government approach is anchored on the Executive Order No. 1 issued in January 2019, which established a 40-year development committee whose apex is the National Development Implementation Cabinet Committee.
My administration's Big Four agenda, its scale, and indeed I believe its audacity, within a constrained time framework, called for a change of TACT, a modification of our current delivery philosophy that recognizes this changing landscape for all stakeholders.
According to Uhuru, the wide scope of the Big Four agenda brought into sharp focus the need to increase government presence at the grassroots, as well as work closely with devolved units and elected leaders. Uhuru underscored the importance of the conference, terming it a unique platform for discussing the building blocks for the African Renaissance. Leaders who attended the meeting lauded him for progressively adopting the all-of-government approach to service delivery, saying Kenya had established a model worth emulating by other African countries. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
About 50 pupils at Kalani Mixed Day and Boarding Primary School in Makueni County are currently spending nights on the floor of their classroom following a heavy wind that destroyed their dormitory. The grade 4 and class 8 pupils were forced to turn their classrooms into a dormitory after the roof of the dormitory was blown off. They are now forced to squeeze into the remaining few classes to continue with learning, as teachers express fears of infection of COVID-19 and other respiratory infections due to the limited space.
This is what was left on the dormitory following heavy winds. Inside the classroom, these are the scenes: mattresses piled on desks, dusty beddings, pupils' personal metallic boxes, washing basins littered on the floor of the classroom cum sleeping area, as the boarders are now forced to cramp into the limited space.
Now that there is a damage, the students are spending their nights on the floor. There is an aspect of dust. Children will suffer from respiratory diseases related to dust, and there is no nets, mosquitoes, they will be affected.
The classroom in itself is in a deplorable state, with the institution's management not sure if the class would remain intact in the event of another natural calamity, amid fears of their health. According to the school's head teacher, Sylvester Ngulu, urgent intervention is needed. He says they are currently forced to accommodate more students in the few spaces, making it difficult to ensure social distancing in the school.
The damage is too much for the parents actually and the BOM to bear. And that is why we are appealing to the Minister of Education and the national government to assist us actually.
And as schools across the country prepare to fully reopen in January 2021, the fate of learners here hangs in the balance if urgent measures are not put in place to salvage the situation. Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
And in other matters, the government is now looking to validate the untapped traditional herbal medicines as an alternative treatment for ailments as well as COVID-19 disease. This was revealed by National Museums of Kenya Managing Director Mzalendo Kibunja during a consultative forum with a number of herbalists from the Mount Kenya region. Kibunja says the country has for long wasted the opportunity of commercializing local traditional medicine, naming countries like India, China and Brazil and America that have leveraged on herbal concoctions to reap big in revenue.
Ruben Munka from Narok County is one of the herbalists in the country who are currently pleading for recognition in finding treatment for the COVID-19 disease. Ruben says the government has sidelined traditional herbal doctors whom he says play a key role in treating some of the ailments Kenyans face.
Madawa ya herbal hata kama ni kwa serikali, hospitali za serikali, kwenda department ya herbs, basi naona tutapunguza idadi ya vifo na pia gharama ya matibabu itakuwa chini.
But his call couldn't have come at a better time. The government says it is about time to tap into the long-neglected herbal sector, according to the National Museums of Kenya Managing Director Mzalendo Kibunja, who met herbalists from Kirinyaga, Meru, Embu and Tharaka Nithi counties who are seeking to partner in commercializing their venture.
Embu try to sensitize these herbalists here and tell them, let them come forward with these products. Let them bring them to the labs. So, and that's what was the missing link. The connection between the herbalist who is making these products, the scientist who is able to tell you the ingredient in this product is this, and then the market.
By validating the herbal formulations, the government at the same time is seeking to maximize on the benefits of herbal medicines in treating various ailments, as well as the revenue benefits, as is the case in countries such as China, India, Brazil and America.
We are very talented herbalists in this country. Even this COVID we are talking about, I'm sure we can find a cure. But maybe a cure is in Kakamega, maybe a cure in Kirinyaga, maybe a cure in Lodwar, maybe a cure in Marsabit. But we don't have access to it. How do we get that cure to come and get to the whole population?
Already a traditional Chinese medicine company, local agent XRP Medical Kenya, has introduced a herbal medicine said to help in immunity. XRP Medical Kenya General Manager Ed Gangugi says the herbal concoction manufactured in China has the ability to treat and manage viral pneumonia and has been approved by relevant government bodies and WHO as fit for human consumption.
Recent studies in China have demonstrated its use alone was sufficient to reduce fever symptoms and viral loads at the early stages of viral pneumonia.
Kamche Menza for Channel 1 News.
Thank you, Kamche Menza, for that report. You are watching Channel 1 News. A quick break here, but don't go anywhere. And you can continue interacting with us on our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 on Twitter, KBC Channel 1 TV on Facebook. My Twitter handle is at Ed Kabasa. And also we have plenty more on our website, kbc.co.ke. You can also check that out. We're taking a short break. Don't go anywhere. Channel 1 News Hour continues shortly.
When the world changed, it made us go back to the simple joys and love the little things even more, like serving up your best, eating together, and sharing more. Now, we'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua pizza. Shilingi mbili unaweza nunua microwave. Shilingi tano unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
National Nurses Association of Kenya have about 15,000 nurses in 47 counties. When the first case was pronounced, the whole nation ran into panic. You remember when the first patients were going to the health facilities, the doctors, the nurses were taking off, and you couldn't have blamed them. The only way to defeat this fear was to train these guys and to provide them with a personal protective gear and psychosocial support. Equity actually gave us a check towards training and psychosocial support. We struggled to buy the basic items, the thermal gun, the gloves, the masks, and the sanitizers. We prayed for resources through Equity Group. The first batch of PPE has been distributed to all the counties, and you could feel their joy, their gratitude, because they didn't know where the protective gear will come. They really feel that support from Equity, and they are really appreciative about it.
Welcome back to the program. A women lobby group is opposing the Building Bridges proposals for constitutional reforms, arguing it will erode the gains made by women in the 2010 constitution. The women say the document is being used to hoodwink women, as it does not outline how the gender issue will be addressed in the National Assembly.
The Women Caucus Group under the Kenya Women Network are vowing to mobilize women and Kenyans to reject the Building Bridges Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, saying it aims to undermine the women's constitutional rights and fundamental freedoms.
Ni kitu ambacho kinaghadhabisha, ni utapeli wa hali ya juu kwa viongozi wetu kujaribu kupitisha vitu ambavyo wanajua vizuri hazihusishi wa Kenya. Kwanza Mkenya wa kawaida. Kwa hivyo ningependa kuomba wamama wote wa Kenya tusimame pamoja tukatae BBI.
The women activists poking holes on the report say it will create an imperial presidency and fails to hold duty bearers accountable.
The BBI proposals attempt at eroding the fundamental rights and freedoms of Kenyans, especially the women, and propose to reintroduce an imperial presidency and a lack of accountability among the duty bearers.
The BBI does not mention how the two-thirds gender principle will be achieved in appointive offices, which include the cabinet, civil service, parastatals, and the diplomatic corps.
Let's follow the protocol.
Separately, Migori Interfaith Network and Korea West MP Matthias Roby is calling on the government to dissolve and abandon the Building Bridges initiative and use the money to curb the spread of coronavirus.
So we cannot put politics at the expense of the sanctity of life. So we are giving the political leaders to go slow and to champion how we can help the lives.
Mambo ambayo wanataka kutumia pesa ya Mkenya, wanataka kutumia bilioni 14 mambo ya referendum.
Meanwhile, a section of politicians in Nakuru County have insisted on the need for the Building Bridges Task Force to incorporate views of all leaders. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
The country will be staring at yet another attempt to amend the 2010 constitution through a popular initiative commencing this Wednesday. After the Kuru Court-led Punguza Mizigo initiative flopped due to technicalities in the county assemblies, the Building Bridges initiative, spearheaded by President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition chief Raila Odinga, will kickstart the collection of the requisite 1 million signatures beginning Wednesday. The team spearheading the latest process has given itself 1 week to amass 4 million signatures to propel the process.
After getting a nod from the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission on the format to collect signatures, the Building Bridges initiative will commence the tedious task of having 1 million Kenyans append their signature to support the popular initiative.
But we must actually now start the process of signature collection and move on to referendum. There are people who may have some reservations, but that is as it is. You can never be absolute at all.
Once the Secretariat meet the requisite threshold, the signatures will then be presented to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, within 7 days.
Kenyans will have a choice of saying yes or saying no to it. So we're not forcing anybody. We're not being undemocratic. We're being very, very democratic and very consultative.
Chapter 16, Article 255 of the Kenyan Constitution outlines how the country's supreme law can be amended, and a referendum is required if any changes relates to either the supremacy of the Constitution, territory of Kenya, sovereignty of the people, national values, and principle of governance, Bill of Rights, the term of office of the President, judiciary functions, object and principle and structure of devolved governance, among other key areas. Such a bill, through the popular initiative, must be signed by 1 million registered voters. The promoters of the initiative shall, after collecting the signature, deliver the bill and the supporting signature to the IEBC, which shall verify the signatures. If satisfied, IEBC then submits the bill to each of the 47 county assemblies for consideration within 3 months after the date submitted by the Commission.
You collect 1 million signatures, you take them to IEBC for verification, you take them to counties, you achieve 24 counties to support you, then you take it to the people for a referendum. You don't need anybody to gazette you, whether in here or outside the country.
The speakers of each county assemblies is required to deliver a copy of the draft bill of the 2 houses of parliament with a certificate of approval, and the draft shall be introduced in parliament without delay. The bill must then be supported by a majority of the members of each house, is then presented to the president for assent. If both houses fail to pass the bill, the proposed amendments shall be submitted to the people in a referendum to either adopt or reject it. The Building Bridges Initiative Bill, which seeks to alter the architect of governance, must also follow the said process. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
From the BBI to matters security, where the British government has pledged to continue supporting Kenya in the fight against the Al-Shabaab terror gang that has been a thorn in the northern region. The British High Commissioner to Kenya, Jane Marriott, who was in Wajir, said her government will also support Kenya in achieving its development agenda on security, health and education.
Speaking in Wajir County after visiting several development projects on security, health and education, the British High Commissioner to Kenya, Jane Marriott, noted that the Queen's government will continue building capacity for security teams along the border in order to foster health and education sectors which have been marred by security challenges.
Is absolutely vital to bring long-lasting peace and stability to any particular area. We particularly believe that you need political inclusion through effective institutions, and that's what we hope to support through the successor to the UK's Kenya Devolution Programme, which we fund directly.
The envoy noted that the British government had supported over 60,000 students across the county to actualize their education dreams and would continue the support.
Doing educational support programmes, we supported nearly 60,000 learners, that's 60,000 people who've got a school education as a result of our partnership that they would not otherwise have got. We're very much believer in sustainable technology, and I'm loving your presentation and what you're achieving there to provide digital content to get over to some of those 60,000 school children.
Area Governor Ambassador Mohamed Abdi Mohamed was the host, said the county is facing a lot of challenges brought about by insecurity along the Kenya-Somalia border.
Support from your government on peace building. The conventional war can be done by the military and the police. But we want peace, we want capacity building for the youth, these youth who are unemployed.
He said insecurity in the area led to a mass exodus of non-local teachers from the county, leaving the education sector in a limbo.
In the absence of cross-border NGOs who can do that job effectively, it becomes a bit difficult. So we would like you to support that area.
For Channel 1 News, I'm Ben Troy Njue.
To corridors of justice now. An anti-corruption court will on Friday rule whether the Ruaraka land scandal case filed by digital strategist Dennis Itumbi against Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i will proceed. Itumbi on Tuesday appeared before Chief Magistrate Douglas Ugoti and said he had all that is required to institute private proceedings against the Cabinet Secretary, claiming that the state prosecutorial agencies had dragged their feet.
Now, I've said the above is the quorum and representation today and expectations by the DPP. I have heard them, but this being an ex parte application, the first step is to hear the application ex parte on whether this application meets the legal threshold to enable the court to direct that there should be service of the application and summons on the first, second respondents and the third interested party.
The court had earlier declined to hear submissions by the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution as Itumbi's application was filed as ex parte. Itumbi claims that he had taken the decision to prosecute Matiang'i after the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution dragged their feet in proceeding with the prosecution despite a High Court decision that confirmed the land was public and was illegally acquired. The strategist wants Matiang'i charged with 4 corruption counts, including abuse of office, willfully failure to comply with the law relating to the management of public funds, committing an offense of financial misconduct, and conspiracy to defraud. In June last year, the High Court ruled that the Ruaraka land where 2 schools sit is public and that the National Land Commission misled the Ministry of Education in compensating businessman Francis Mburu 1.5 billion shillings, which led to the loss of public funds. Matiang'i was the then Education CS at the time when the money was paid.
A section of world religious and political leaders have called for peace between nations for global mutual prosperity and interdependence while marking the 70th anniversary of the Korean War during a Rally of Hope conference that was held virtually. The leaders urged nations to unite in resolving human conflicts, especially during this time of COVID-19 pandemic.
The Rally of Hope conference aimed at building a unified world to lasting peace on interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universal values, virtually brought together hundreds of global leaders in Korea. The leaders noting that global challenges revolve around realms of politics, economy, and religion, and there was need to involve nations in ending human conflicts.
This Rally of Hope allows us to collectively think about challenges facing our desire to build a human family.
Growing inequalities have created frustration and mistrust, thus leading to greater instability. None of these challenges can be solved in isolation. They are all connected, interconnected, and need global solutions through concerted efforts and cooperation.
The religious and political leaders described diplomacy as an important aspect in bridging divisions among nations.
Time has come for humanity to come together in unity and harmony.
The event was to virtually commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Korean War, which began on June 25th, 1950, in what was perceived as the first military action of the Cold War. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
And back home, police officers have been challenged to be more responsive to cases of gender-based violence. Director for Community Policing, Gender and Child Protection, Judy Lamet, says police officers are the first line of contact for victims of gender violence and as such should be well equipped with knowledge on how to handle such cases. More details in the County News Roundup.
The pandemic triggered a change in the lifestyle of families owing to restrictions to minimize infection. On the flip side, the restrictions triggered an increase in gender-based violence. It is this increase that has raised concerns prompting the National Police Service and development partners to train officers on how to deal with cases of gender-based violence.
We are happy because they have understood the concept of community policing, and community policing is the modern way of policing worldwide. We need to have a partnership with the police, and we need that the police know that the public are the people they are supposed to serve.
Meanwhile, Cabinet Administrative Secretary for Education Mumina Bonaya says she's satisfied with the preparations put in place by many schools across the country ahead of reopening of schools in January. She was speaking at Isiolo Barracks Primary School after inspecting delivery of new desk program in Isiolo, Samburu and Marsabit counties.
We are prepared, of course, to handle where we have got isolated cases. We are ready to handle that and contain it. And I think based on what we've experienced so far, in terms of success, having our learners back in class to continue with the studies and also being able to keep them safe, then we are convinced that it would be better.
Elsewhere, Nanyuki marks 100 years of existence since it was declared a town by colonial governor. The governor of the colony of Kenya then declared Nanyuki a township, drawing the powers from the East Africa Township Ordinance of 1903. However, residents of Liki and Majengo Estate are demanding to be issued with title deeds.
Tuko na progress kiasi fulani kwamba Liki na Majengo na kwengineko katika Laikipia hii, ile RRI ilikuwa ya wapate title deeds. Kwa mfano Liki, mambo ya kumalizana na survey na mengine tumetimiza, na kwa hivyo hivi karibuni tutawapatia title deeds zao.
Families of 2 people who died at Wanguru Police Station in Mwea East Sub-County have called for thorough investigations to unravel the cause of death of their family members. The families of John Jeru and Martin Musioka have discounted claims that the 2 died due to COVID-19 related ailments as alleged by the police. The families are now asking the Independent Police Oversight Authority to take up the matter and conduct thorough investigations.
Huyo mtu wa mochari ametuambia mwili imeshawekwa vizuri. Sasa mimi nauliza, ni nani alikuja kuweka mwili vizuri kama hakuna mambo mabaya ilitendeka kwa Wanguru Police Station?
And residents of Kiganjo Estate in Thika Town are demanding for the closure of a local bar. The revelers at the club are alleged to have been beaten to death by the club's security personnel for failing to pay their bills. Residents are now demanding those behind the killing be arrested before the bar can resume its operations.
Sisi kama wakaji wa Kiganjo tumesema COVID haitatuua na tuuliwe na watu, kwa sababu hizo vitu zote mbili si ugonjwa. Hiyo ni kitu ambayo inatengenezwa na watu, na isipokuwa ni hizo vilabu kama zingekuwa zikifungwa kama vilabu zile zingine, kama wale waraia wengine, hizo vifo za hao watu 3 wazingetokea. Kwa hivyo
tusikadhibitisha kama wanakufa juu ya kukaa sana au kama juu ya hiyo pombe wanakunywa pale, lakini tumehakikisha kwamba hizo ndizo mbaya ambao tumeweza kuenda kukimbizana nazo, na tumehakikisha kwamba tumechukua license, na kuna zingine hata hazina license ambao tumeshika wenye kuuza na tumewaleta hapa kotini ili waweze kuadhibiwa vilivyo.
Finally, a lorry transporting sandalwood worth 12 million shillings was impounded by a multi-agency team at Oldonyiro area in Samburu East along Isiolo Marsabit Road. Samburu Central Sub-County Police Commander Alex Rotich said 2 people who were found inside the vehicle have been arrested and detained at Maralal Police Station. Rotich said the lorry was impounded with 3 tons of sandalwood. After the multi-agency team got a tip-off, Rotich asked residents of Samburu County to work with security organs in ending illegal sandalwood business in the county.
It's always a full house this season when the family comes together.
To reconnect.
One thing we do, we watch GoTV. We love it.
It's all about making the holidays special. For the kids. That means keeping the GoTV subscription active because they love it.
GoTV is everyone's favorite place this festive season.
Usimiss out. Get GoTV decoder kwa shilingi 1999.
GoTV. Love it.
They showed their might in the inaugural FIBA AfroCan in Mali with the silverware. They are ready to make it even better in the FIBA AfroBasket 2021 qualifiers in Rwanda. Let's rally behind the Kenya Morans as they take on the opposition from Angola, Senegal, and Mozambique from 25th to 27th of November on your true sports partner KBC Channel 1 in their quest for success. This is just the beginning. Save the dates for the best.
Next on.
Without you, tell me, how can I survive? Though they will try and try and try, they will never conquer I. We have no fear. We are the lions in the jungle. Jamaica, Jamaica. Oh, my reggae, nice and it make ya. Under the pressure, yeah, under the pressure. If your watch up and take away now, we cheat and set the car.
Next on.
Equity Foundation has done a phenomenal job. They put the producers, the suppliers, and the people who are using it together.
I was called at Msambweni, a medical training college, and that is where I went and studied under the Beyond Zero scholarship.
I continue to invest in training and skills building of community nurses and health workers by expanding the number of Beyond Zero scholarships from 100 to 200 in the next year.
Right now, if you go to any hospital, in Mararal, Marsabit, Lamu, all the hospitals, everywhere, everybody's got PPE.
Welcome back. Time for business. A ventilator developed by Kenyatta University students is set to go into commercial use once it secures 2 more approvals from regulators. The ventilator, designed and made by engineering and medical students at Kenyatta University, is part of innovations Kenyans have come up with to contain COVID-19.
When learning institutions were closed, thousands of students went home and waited for the schools to be reopened. For these engineering students at Kenyatta University, they took to brainstorming ideas of helping in the fight against the pandemic. The talks were fruitful.
Vice Chancellor pia akapenda, so tukaitwa shuleni chuo kikuu cha Kenyatta, alafu tukaambiwa tutapewa space na pia support ya kuifanya ikuwe reality, because by then it was just an idea.
To deliver a machine that would meet the international standards, they needed guidance from seniors with hands-on medical experience.
Chuo kikuu cha Kenyatta pia kikabuni kamati ya professionals, so kutoka various departments, nursing, medicine, pharmacy na engineering. So they were mentors. Kazi yao ilikuwa kutu, because they have experience in the field.
It took 3 versions to get to the final version that has so far been approved by the Kenya Bureau of Standards. The ventilator is not yet in the market for use by hospitals, since 2 more approvals are pending, such as one from the Kenya Pharmacy and Poisons Board.
Tunangojea barua kutoka kwa Pharmacy and Poisons Board. Ndio kutoka hapo kifaa chetu kiende hospitali na kitasaidia watu wengi.
Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
It's about the quality and use of meat products has often led to consumption of unsafe meat and high costs passed on to consumers from losses in the value chain. To bridge this gap, the Retail Trade Association of Kenya and the Meat and Livestock Exporters Industry Council of Kenya have partnered to promote safe handling and consumption of meat in the country.
Food safety experts estimate that Kenya loses over 100 billion shillings annually to consumption of unsafe foods. This is manifested in, among others, the number of man-hours lost during illness and medical costs. The Retail Trade Association of Kenya and the Meat and Livestock Exporters Industry Council of Kenya have now resolved to start a national conversation to educate consumers on the attributes of safe meat.
We're looking to start a national conversation that will lead the consumer to start asking for safer meat and to start looking for quality in meat.
We are trying to do a lot in terms of revolutionizing the industry, not just from consumption, but also from production.
Exporters raised concern that standards are enforced by the export markets but highly ignored locally.
What we export is not more than 10 billion shillings worth of meat, as opposed to the 330 billion that is consumed locally. So we do a lot of work locally. It's just that we are focusing on both export and local. We are trying to bring export standards to the local market.
Kenya's meat is ranked among the most expensive per kilo globally, mainly because of lack of modernization in the value chain. For instance, the sector records up to 50% mortality losses from birth to sale of livestock and about 12% post-harvest losses of meat. The costs are inevitably borne by the consumer. Under the MOU, the associations committed to short, medium and long-term objectives that they hope will modernize the local meat market, improve on quality of meat and enhance consumption of more affordable and safe meat by all consumers.
We came back down to the value chain to try and sort out production, and that's why we're partnering with counties. We are partnering with several county governments. We are partnering with Kwale County in terms of production. We are partnering with Mombasa County in terms of consumption.
Let's look at when was it slaughtered, how was it grown, where was it sourced. Color does not always indicate good meat. So the fact that it's nice, bright and red does not give you the guarantee that it is red.
Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
And in other matters, the outbreak of COVID-19 has helped push uptake of electronics used for hygiene, such as the washing machine, with Kenyans now preferring those with the latest technology and energy efficiency. LG Electronics says the firm has introduced a machine that eliminates allergens which affect the respiratory system, such as dust, smoke or tear gas.
The outbreak of COVID-19 has underscored the importance of taking care of one's respiratory system. Premised on this, LG Electronics has introduced into the market a washing machine that seeks to eliminate allergens from the clothes. Content manager William Kamore says the steam function on the washer removes dirt and substances attached to the clothes that could cause allergic reaction or affect your breathing system.
Your clothes, when you go out, they might get a lot of dust, smoke, even smoke, dust, even let's say tear gas. And what it does is that, you know, if all these things are on your clothes, it will affect your respiratory system. And especially at this time, you want to take care of our respiratory system.
A survey by the firm indicates that Kenyans' top 4 considerations when it comes to washing machines are that it has to be technologically savvy, care for the fabric, energy efficiency and durability.
It has a new technology about the direct drive motor that features artificial intelligence. And how the artificial intelligence works on this washing machine is that it automatically detects the clothes weight and also the fabric characteristic. And the benefit you get is you get 18% more better fabric care for your clothes.
Kamore says there has been a steady increase in demand for electronic products on hygiene after the outbreak of COVID-19 as Kenyans embrace products to help reduce contamination.
In other matters, corruption is threatening to roll back gains secured after the adoption of the devolved system of governance. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa is calling for enhanced collaboration between government agencies and professional bodies such as the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya to tame the vice.
Over 300 billion shillings of public cash in Kenya is said to be lost through corruption annually. This is despite involvement of professionals such as accountants, auditors and engineers. Devolution Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa believes adherence to both professional code of conduct and constitution will help reduce cases of wastage of public resources.
The COVID-19 crisis is not just a health crisis. It's a financial crisis. It's an economic crisis. And when we are talking finances, the profession of accountancy is very, very important. When we are talking about public finance management, you play a very important role. And at Safari Park, we engaged about this to see how we can give more capacity to our counties to discharge their mandate. in terms of ensuring proper public finance management.
Accountants are being challenged to come up with solutions that will help revive the economy that has been ravaged by the current coronavirus pandemic.
This disruption has altered our business outlook in ways that may never be reversed. But while this change is happening, I take this opportunity to challenge you, accountants, to continuously transform yourself to suit the new demands of the society and industry. The industry expects strategic professionals who do not only think beyond operational tasks, but also get immersed in the strategic outlook of the organizations they serve as accountants.
They made the remarks in Mombasa during the 36th annual conference for the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya. Reporting for Channel 1 Business News from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
It is an all-Egyptian affair and a first for CAF as two home teams face each other in the final of the 2020 CAF Champions League in Alexandria. Al Ahly will be all out to maintain their dominance in the elite African clubs competition against their arch rivals Zamalek, who are raring for a fight to the death. You cannot afford to miss this thriller on the 27th of November only on your true sports partner, KBC Channel 1 from 10 p.m. We have a lot in store for you. Be on the lookout. They showed their might in the inaugural FIBA AfroCan in Mali with the silverware. They are ready to make it even better in the FIBA AfroBasket 2021 qualifiers in Rwanda. Let's rally behind the Kenya Morans as they take on the opposition from Angola, Senegal, and Mozambique from 25th to 27th of November on your true sports partner, KBC Channel 1. In their quest for success, this is just the beginning. Save the dates for the best.
Welcome back. Time for sports. Gor Mahia is disputing the move by the Football Kenya Federation to surrender the club's broadcast rights to pay TV channel Startimes. Startimes was recently announced as the broadcast partner by FKF, with the Chinese media company handed the mandate to air the KPL and SL and national teams matches. The deal ostensibly allows the broadcast partner to own the club's broadcast rights, a move that Gor Mahia chairperson Ambrose Richier says does contravene Articles 81 of FKF Constitution. Richier also announced the suspension of Club Secretary General Samuel Ochola, who is alleged to have signed the contract on behalf of the club.
Owns such rights as its intellectual property, and it is only the club that has the locus standi, meaning the legal position or legal authority to cede them or to grant them to a third party. I hope that is very, very clear. We as a club own the broadcast rights. Football Kenya Federation has no authority whatsoever, and I repeat, the Football Kenya Federation has no authority whatsoever to enter into any contract with any person purporting to grant such party our broadcast rights. Article 81 of the Football Federation Constitution does not confer such rights to the Federation. They have resorted to coercing, intimidating, blackmailing clubs to procure the endorsement of the agreement they entered into illegally with StarTimes Media. But we have remained, as Gor Mahia, we have remained adamant in our position. And that is why this morning, by whatever means employed, they procured our Secretary General, one Samuel Ochola Kwenda, to purport to issue to StarTimes an endorsement of the agreement, which all the members of the Executive Committee have recanted, and have a letter signed by all the members of the committee addressed to StarTimes, telling them that that letter is written without authority and is of no legal effect. The letter is already stereotyped, and it was sent to me, and I rejected it. I first of all asked for the StarTimes agreement, which nobody has seen outside the confines of the president and his cohorts.
And in other matters, World Rally Championship President Jean Todt has said he's satisfied with Kenya's preparations towards the World Safari Rally Championship that Kenya will be hosting next year. Todt is on a 3-day visit to the country to assess the progress that has been made so far.
The World Safari Rally Championship will be making a comeback to Kenya after missing out for 18 years. FIA president, who is in the country for a 3-day visit, is contented with the progress that the Kenya Motorsports Federation has made so far in preparing for the global showpiece. According to John Todt, the nature of the rally organized by the World Rally Championship Safari Rally Project, a joint venture between the Kenyan Government, Sports Ministry and the Kenya Motorsports Federation, has evolved to fit the modern-day WRC. The safari was first held in 1953 as a celebration of the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II and covered Kenya, Uganda and Tanganyika, now Tanzania.
Which has been done. Look, we are not here in a stadium. We are here in the WRC headquarters in Nairobi, with working day and night to prepare the event. So it will be a spectacular venue and appointment for motorsport around the world, and we know that rallying is one of the most dynamic sport. And it has been, as I was mentioning earlier, a big development on rallying, on regulation, and it's much more which will come over the next period.
On the environmental conservation, we have agreed that we are going to plant 18 million trees, which will reflect the 18 years that the Safari Rally was absent from our country. Yeah? And so we'll plant 18 million trees. We're going to do this in our traditional Safari Rally routes. We will do this in our wetlands affected by deforestation. We will also do this at the spectator stage of the Moi International Sports Center here in Kasarani.
We can have this rally for another 10 years, and we have nothing to show for it other than the benefits accruing during that period. So beyond the period of the rally, we expect that we're going to leave these trees for future generations. So the legacy projects are for posterity.
The rally will be based in Nairobi, with the service park and stages located near Lakes Naivasha and Elementaita, northwest of the city in the Great Rift Valley. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
National basketball team Morans will face Senegal in their opening match of the AfroBasket qualifiers tomorrow in Kigali, Rwanda. The team will then take on Angola and Mozambique in their next 2 fixtures. In a build-up match to the tournament, Morans narrowly defeated South Sudan 68-66 earlier today. All the Kenyan Morans matches will be televised live on KBC Channel 1.
National basket team Morans will tomorrow face Senegal in their opening match of the Afro-Basket qualifiers in Kigali, Rwanda. Then play Angola and Mozambique in their other group matches on Thursday and Friday, respectively. Kenya defeated South Sudan in the final match of the pre-qualification games last year in Nairobi to book a place in the Afro-Basket qualifiers. It is the same South Sudan that Kenya has defeated 68-66 in a friendly match played today. Defending champions Tunisia headline Pool A alongside the Central African Republic, Madagascar and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Group C consists of hosts Rwanda, Nigeria, Mali and Algeria, while Group E has Egypt, Morocco, Uganda and Cape Verde. The top 3 teams from the qualification rounds will join Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire and Equatorial Guinea, who have qualified for the Afro-Basketball finals to be hosted in Rwanda next year. All the Morans matches will be aired live on KBC Channel 1. Meanwhile, world half-marathon record holder Perez Jepchirchir enhanced her chances of clinching this year's Female World Athlete of the Year award after she was shortlisted in the final 5 athletes who will battle out for the award. Jepchirchir broke her own world record at the World Athletics Half-Marathon Championship in Poland this year, crossing the finish line in 1 hour, 5 minutes and 16 seconds. Other athletes who have been shortlisted include Netherlands' Sifan Hassan, Yulimar Rogers of Venezuela, Elaine Thompson-Herah of Jamaica and Ethiopia's Lentesebet Gide. Jepchirchir will be the only Kenyan who will be vying for the award after Timothy Cheruiyot was locked out of the final 5 in the men's category. The World Athletics Awards 2020 will be staged virtually on the 5th of December.
And in other sports news, Albert Njogu and Angelo Kutoi are the new champions of the Kenya Tennis Seniors Challenge, which culminated today. Njogu claimed victory after beating Ibrahim Yego 4-6, 6-3, 7-5 sets, while Kutoi claimed a 6-love, 6-2 win over Chiruto Sylvia.
Gonga tu sasa unajua inamfuata mara moja inafuata itampata hiyo process yote na
This week we have organized Tennis Kenya Seniors Challenge Series. We want to see how we can run events with the government guidelines that have been released. So we are just trying out in preparation of the upcoming international events in January if we get clearance from the government.
My targets and my focus is to play a lot more in the coming year, because this past year, 2020 was supposed to be for us to play a lot more. So we're still going to keep up with the same focus, playing more tennis as much as possible, try and travel as much as possible, because we want tennis in Kenya to improve.
Ahmed Salah is back in training and could face Atalanta in the Champions League on Wednesday. The 28-year-old missed Sunday's 3-0 win over Leicester after testing positive for coronavirus while on international duty with Egypt. But he has since tested negative and took part in training on Monday. Liverpool have a 100% record in this season's Champions League and will reach the last 16 if they beat their Serie A opponents. Here is the full fixture of matches for today and tomorrow. It's exactly 10 p.m. Thank you very much for joining us for this edition of Channel 1 News Hour. On behalf of the team here, my name is Edward Kabasa. Simon Karotha has been our sign language interpreter. And as always, you can stay up to date with breaking news on Twitter at KBC Channel 1 and on our website, kbc.co.ke. Good night. Weather Focus is coming up next.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. My name is Irene Mchuma Odem. Weather experts say in the next 24 hours, there would be an increase of wet conditions over the western parts of the country, and this will largely affect Migori, Kisii, and Kericho areas. But before we get into the nitty-gritty on that, let's establish what is happening in the country tonight. And the northern parts of the country and the southeastern lowlands are currently covered with partly cloudy conditions. This, as the rest of the country is experiencing scattered wet conditions, and that is how the nights will be. Tomorrow, waking up to rains in Meru and Nyeri, but this will be over a few places. Though the capital will be cloudy during the morning hours, we're expecting sunny intervals to prevail. The northern parts of the country, the northeastern, would largely experience sunny intervals, but there'll be rains in Mandera and areas around that town. The coastal strip will experience cloudy weather conditions with scattered wet conditions during the morning hours. The southeastern lowlands, Machakos, Makindu, Voi, will be sunny during the morning hours, but there'll be rains in Meru and Nyeri. The capital will be sunny during the morning hours. The Lake Basin region will largely experience sunny intervals. We're expecting rains in Kisii and Kisumu during the morning hours. The northwestern parts of the country will be sunny in the morning, and in the afternoon, there'll be an increase of wet conditions across the country. The Lake Basin region and western sector will largely be affected. As I mentioned earlier, there'll be showers accompanied by thunderstorms in Kisii, Kericho, Migori, Kisumu, Kakamega, and Bungoma. In the capital, Meru and Nyeri, moving all the way to Machakos, Makindu, Voi, there'll be showers during the afternoon hours. The northeastern parts of the country will experience a reduction of wet conditions from what you will have experienced during the morning hours, but still, Mandera will be affected. The coastal strip will be sunny. The northwestern parts of the country will also experience sun intervals during the afternoon hours. Temperatures, Mandera and Lodwar still at 8, the highest across the country at 36 degrees Celsius. The capital will experience highs of 26 degrees Celsius. And for you in Lamu, be prepared for highs of 33 degrees Celsius. How about you cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast? Do have a good night and see you tomorrow. God willing.